Well, welcome back to Growing in Circles and Cycles. We are learning what discipleship is, what it means to look more like Jesus. I'm so glad you're here on our Facebook page here at Glory View Church. I am Pastor Jamie, and I'm looking forward to our few minutes together this week as we dive into the Word. Well, last time, if you were with us, I was in Matthew chapter 3, verse 17. And I had said that I wanted to look at chapter 4 of Matthew, and we're going to kind of go there, and then we're going to jump to another passage as well. But what we had looked at last time, Matthew chapter 3, verse 17, the statement, the voice of heaven, the Father saying, "This is my dearly loved or beloved Son who brings me joy." And we talked about the importance of whose voice are you listening to, who speaks into your life. Who are you? Identity, intimacy, forming our identity. And when we go into chapter 4 in Matthew, this is the passage. Sometimes we think of wilderness and we think like punishment. And in this instance, in Matthew chapter 4, when Jesus is led into the wilderness, it's to help us see the formation of identity, that Jesus knows who he is. And the enemy comes and tempts him with these different questions. And the first one that we had come to was when he asked him the question, "If you are the Son of God, then tell these stones to become bread." If you are the Son of God. And we know when the voice speaks affirmation of who we are, the Father spoke to the Son knew who he was. And he goes through these temptations. Well, I want to talk about that just for a few minutes with you today. This question, if you are the Son of God, knowing who we are, knowing who we've been called to be, I want to use this kind of analogy, talking about first class. If you've ever flown on an airplane before, you know that airplanes are put together by sections, and there's the first class that sits in the front. And sometimes as you're flying, you might notice they have a curtain. They may close those curtains up to first class. And there's amenities that come with first class and things that you get when you sit there. Well, there was a plane one day that ended up having a lot of people that didn't show. And so they were inviting people up to first class. Everyone was welcome. They said, "Everyone today, amenities for first class are for everyone." And some people jumped up right out of their seats without hesitation. As soon as they said, everyone's invited to first class, everyone just jumped up and they ran to the front to join first class. That curtain was ripped open. It wasn't separating. But there was a few people in the back who needed reassurance. There was people who kind of were held up and they were like, "Well, are you sure? I have my ticket and it says I'm back here and this is where I'm supposed to sit. Are you sure I'm allowed to come up there?" And that helps us see two different types of people. There's those who understand that when that curtain's torn and there's no longer this separation. And that is what we find when Jesus hears these words. There is no separation of class when it comes to being a child of God. And in Luke chapter 15, I wanted to read this as well. This is a story that we find. It's about Jesus uses this parable about two sons and a very faithful father. One son who left and then one son who stayed. You can read the story, Luke chapter 15. But the older son is the one that doesn't leave his father's side, doesn't go off. And we find this statement he makes in verse 29, "All these years I've slaved for you, never once refused to do a single thing you told me to." He never left the father. But the word that is used here, "all these years I've slaved," is literally the word for bondage. I have been in bondage to you. I have slaved for you. I have performed for you. And all these years, I have done all these and tried and tried. I never left your side. I never refused to do a single thing you asked. And we feel like we have to have more discipline. We need to add more discipline in our lives in order for the Father to love us. If I have more and I do more, then he'll love me more. And as long as I'm doing those things, he's going to love me. And the Father says at the very end here, Son, you have always stayed with me. This is verse 31. And everything I have is yours. Always has been yours. Always was yours. Never wasn't yours. And we kind of put ourselves like in first class separation where we feel like what the Father has, I'm not good enough. Other people deserve that. Does God really love me? I'm back here. And he's inviting us into everything he has. Everything I have had has always been yours. Everything that I have to give is fully yours. But we approach it with hesitation, needing reassurance. Are you sure? Does the Father really love me as much as he does his own Son? And I'm here today to tell you that he does. That's the beauty of what Jesus came to reveal to us, the revelation. We don't need more discipline. What we need in our life is more revelation of the Father's love that Jesus told us about in John 17:23. Our identity is formed through intimacy with him. Don't be hesitant. Don't let that curtain keep you from really knowing that everything that he has to give has always been yours when you're his. So I hope today that you are growing in your identity as you walk with Jesus, as he reveals more and more about being a son, being a daughter through our identity that has been called through him. He loves you that much, and nothing is separating that. So, Father, may they see past that today. May they not see that curtain that separates, but may they see the invitation that brings them into the fullness of everything you have for them. God bless you guys today. We'll see you next time.